all know what the government has said. You all know what Rihanna has said. All of this has been all over the internet for everyone. So we are not going to bore you with the details you already know. But here are the things that I guess nobody disagrees with. Everybody agrees. Point number one, farmer-government talks are an internal matter. Let's put them up on screen. It is a fact. It is an internal matter. And there are only two stakeholders in this. One is the government and the other is the farmers. See, there are only these two stakeholders who can provide any solution whatsoever to this impasse, to this problem. The government and the farmers. Everyone else is just a commentator, is just an observer. It's an internal matter. There can be no dispute on this. But there are some questions that the government needs to answer amid what is happening among these trending hashtags. Question number one, someone said something internationally. Why is the government so thin-skinned to international criticism that you will have the Ministry of External Affairs reply? Why did Foreign Ministry really have to reply to private tweets? You're the Foreign Ministry of such a huge country. Why does criticism of government imply propaganda against India? Since when has government become India? These are two totally different things. One can love his or her country and also be critical of the government. Is that not allowed? And then, did international celeb tweets lending support to the farmers deserve an intervention by the Ministry of External Affairs? Of all, individuals can respond, but when governments choose to respond, then it seems that here is a situation where one tweet by an international celebrity has got the entire machinery, the entire government machinery in retaliation. What does this mean? Are we that fragile as a democracy? That's a question that we are asking as of this moment. I've got Dilip Cherian with me, he's an image guru, DP Kaushik, spokesperson of BJP Haryana, Pawan Khera, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Tuhin Sinha, author and leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you very much. Mr. Sinha, let me begin with you first. Would you like to take any of these questions that we are raising right here? You know, why is the government so thin-skinned to international criticism? And as we said at the very beginning, there are only two principal stakeholders in this: government and farmers. And it is an internal matter. Tuhin. Tuhin, can you unmute your audio? I believe your audio is not on.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, now we can hear you. Please carry on.
I hope, yeah. So there is an element of selectivism in your opening remarks, Sanketji, because at this point of time, as we talk right now, it is no longer just limited to mere criticism. If you refer to the toolkit which has been released by Greta Thunberg, some of the information which is contained there is quite inflammatory. It carries a roadmap of protests which are taking place in the country, date-wise, right from January 21 onwards till the end of a plan. It carries a plan till the end of February. Strangely, it carries the mention of two Indian corporates, Adani and Ambani, clearly inciting people that in case you don't find any other place of protest, you can protest at these offices. Now, which Indian leader is obsessed with Adani and Ambani every time he chooses to criticize the Indian government? At the same time, these tweets beginning last night, as per the Indian time, have exposed the international deep state working against India in a way never before. If you look at it, right after that tweet, one Indian outdated journalist works through the night and writes an international article saying India is at war with itself. And, the basis of that article is entirely that one tweet. So, I mean, all of these dots need to be connected somewhere. This is an issue which requires larger investigation.
One moment.
The government has rightly been very prompt in circumventing this entire campaign.
Tuhin, most of the tweets that I've seen, barring the one which shows like a calendar of what to do, what not to do, most of the tweets that have come out from these international celebrities are commenting on write-ups talking about internet being suspended on water and power supply being cut and nails being put up and concertina wires being put up. I understand the point that you're making on Greta Thunberg's tweet, where she's given out a calendar of events of what one can do and what one cannot do. My question is very simple. Are we to believe that the government is so fragile that you have to launch a counter-internet campaign?
The government is...
Take action.
If
you have all the tools at your command. Take action.
Let me explain this, Sanket. If these international celebrities had a craving to comment on an international issue, there was Russia, where this week more than 5,000 people have been arrested for protests backing Navalny. They could have commented on the military coup in Myanmar. If they chose India, it was very much a motivated campaign, number one. Number two, now that we look at the tool book released by Greta Thunberg, that only adds up to the fact that it was not an innocuous criticism of the government. There is more to it, and I think the government has been, rather than being
investigate, sir. Mr. Sinha,
hands-on in dealing with the situation.
Will there be an investigation into this? Launch an investigation. Find out if there is an international conspiracy. As I said, you have all the best investigating agencies at your command.
So what makes you think the investigation will not happen? The intelligence agencies are already at work. One of the reasons why we took prompt action, one of the reasons why we promptly circumvented this entire campaign.
Sure. Okay. Pawan Kheda is also with us. I just feel that at this moment, it just appears as if the government is so thin-skinned to criticism that anyone who writes anything will face the strong arm of the Twitter campaign. Because right now it seems as if the government is running, a parallel campaign. And I want to reiterate this. Criticism of the government does not amount to criticism of the country. These are two very different things. And I'm sure you agree with me when I say this. Mr. Pawan Kheda, I want to introduce you now.
Sanket, we are a country of 1 billion plus, 1.3 billion. कल से हम क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि रिहाना के फॉलोअर्स नरेंद्र मोदी जी के फॉलोअर्स से ज्यादा है, वो 100 मिलियन फॉलोअर्स. I mean, these are the battles which the Prime Minister of India wants to pick up. Welcome to New India. He's welcome. Let him pick up his own battles.
No, he's been elected. Why? He has been elected.
हिंदुस्तान ने चुना
he has been elected by crores and crores of voters.
एक पॉप स्टार ने अगर कोई ट्वीट कर दिया, why is the MEA responding to it? ना तो रिहाना रिपब्लिक है और ना हम बनाना रिपब्लिक है. हो क्या रहा है इस देश में? Governance is a serious business, Sanket. You can't stoop to this level and start responding to some pop star. With due respect to her. The MEA, I mean, what the entire world is laughing at us. ये तो आपने न्यू इंडिया बना दिया. एक बात सुनिए, बड़ी परेशानी हो रही है इनको, भारत को बदनाम कर रहे हैं सब. हिंदुस्तान किसी के ट्वीट से नहीं बदनाम होता. तब बदनाम होता है जब हिंदुस्तान का किसान दुनिया के सामने रोता है. तब इन्हें कोई चिंता नहीं होती. I am shocked that the government did not react when 162 farmers lost their lives. Least bothered. The Prime Minister who's gone to the Singhu border, their MLAs who tried to go to Ghazipur to beat up the farmers. Show me one man from the BJP who's gone to the families of those who lost their lives, the farmers who lost their lives. In fact, yesterday they announced that there will be no ex gratia payment money given to the farmers who lost their lives. तब इन्हें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
No, but then, Mr. Kheda, can I know the official position of the Congress party as of this moment? What is the official position of the Congress party on international celebrities tweeting in favor of the farmers?
Whether they speak in favor of the farmer, whether they speak in favor of Narendra Modi, how does it matter to India? I, as the opposition party, even have an opinion on it. My opinion, my energies, my political capital is meant for the farmers sitting there in the biting cold for the last 2.5 months. I am not like Mr. Modi, इतना thin skinned हूं कि रिहाना ने ट्वीट कर दिया तो मैं या तो सेलिब्रेट करूंगा या उनके खिलाफ बोलूंगा. I am not bothered. I mean, I am indifferent to Rihanna. She is a pop star in America, and there is a Prime Minister of India here who thinks he's a rock star. It's between them. I don't want to get it between them.
Okay,
let them fight it out.
Let me get in a response. Mr. Tuhin Sinha, you're right to reply, and then we move on to
no, like I've already said, it goes beyond criticism. Had it only been Rihanna one could have, accepted what Mr. Khera is saying. But the document released by Greta Thunberg, I think we are rather limiting the discussion to mere criticism. The conspiracy stands exposed. Now, obviously, in the days to come, in the next couple of days, we will get to know more about it. But the very fact, can you imagine that Greta Thunberg's document actually has a mention of the two corporates who are constantly being criticized by the opposition? It clearly says demonstrate at the offices of Adani and Ambani if you don't find any other place. Isn't that a very eerie similarity? So
Sure.
please let us go beyond the criticism by
Okay,
virtue
let
of
me
I
take
think
that to
the
Mr. Kheda
international
very
deep
quickly.
state stands exposed
Mr.
like
Kheda,
never
how would you
before.
respond? The BJP says this is a larger international conspiracy which is now unfolding.
So now the BJP spokesperson will also defend the corporates. भाई उन्होंने कॉर्पोरेट्स का दो का नाम ले लिया, हम तो नहीं रिएक्ट कर रहे भाई क्यों लिया, उनका क्यों नहीं लिया, इनका क्यों लिया? Why is Mr. Tuhin Sinha, who is here to represent the BJP, defending the corporates? Let them defend themselves.
No, I'm not defending the corporate.
You and I, we are politicians. Why should we get into it? You are a respectable man from the BJP, a national party in power right now. I am from the Congress party. Why should we get into defending corporates? हम क्यों अडानी अंबानी की तारीफ करेंगे साहब? हम क्यों उनकी रक्षा करने यहाँ आ जाएंगे? I am sorry, I won't.
I'm just pointing out at the
Okay,
very
okay, moving on. One moment. I had promised our viewers.
To you, I'm advising you. Please
Mr.
do not, as a politician, come
Mr.
out
Kheda
and defend
and
corporates like
Tuhin
this
Sinha.
publicly. Don't do that.
The nature
What you
of
do with them
debates
in
on
private is none of my
NDTV is
business.
that.
But do not defend them publicly.
One moment.
Good message.
The nature of the debates that we have.
आपके क्या रिश्ते हैं अंबानी अडानी से, मुझे उसमें कोई मतलब नहीं, कोई रुचि है. लेकिन पब्लिकली तो कम से कम फार्मर्स की बात कर लो भाई.
Okay.
Sanket, who's defending? I'm
Okay,
just
wait.
pointing out at the very eerie similarity.
Fine,
Yeah,
let's
but
move on.
Adani
I
Ambani
also
को
want to
अपने
add as
defense
of this
करने आ
moment.
जाएंगे.
I also
Openly.
want to add as of this moment.
this now.
Mr. Kheda, one moment. I want to add as of this moment
sorry,
that
it
Greta
shocks me.
Thunberg has deleted her tweet, but for whatever the reasons may have been to have tweeted that out, that has raised a huge controversy. We'll talk about that in greater detail, but the latest information is that she has deleted that tweet. Now, obviously, there will be questions raised as Mr. Tuhin Sinha is raising. What was the larger plan? Dilip Cherian, let's move beyond this, and I want to ask you the larger point about image management. Do you think that because of the farmers' protest and the manner in which it was handled, which again, I mean, is a huge subject matter of discussion, do you think the government was found wanting on that front? And all of this is nothing but a consequence of the same. I mean, after all, how will you stop anyone from saying whatever they want?
What saddens me is that this morning, which is 2 days after the budget, the Wall Street Journal, which is one of the most respected journals, has to defend what Rihanna has said, not because of what she has said, but because there were some ugly tweets which were racist and which were accusing her of all kinds of things and telling her to stay out of international matters which she knows nothing about. So the Wall Street Journal editorial mentions Rihanna has tweeted about 3 other global issues, and that is what saddens me as an Indian and as someone who's concerned about the nation and is quite thin-skinned when it comes to the nation. One, she has tweeted in the past about Sudan, about Afghanistan, and about Myanmar. We are the world's 5th largest economy. We should not be lumped with any of this. It's not that the Wall Street Journal is doing it, but it has said that she has intervened in internationally important matters where she feels strongly about. That's one thing. So I think that the government of India defending it, offending it, etc., has only raised the whole issue in the public vision. The second thing, some of us will remember that in the days of the Beatles, George Harrison very famously held a concert for Bangladesh. The music from it's iconic. Artists across the world have always spoken for the oppressed, for the deprived and the underprivileged. So it is not as if it is part of some great conspiracy for Rihanna to tweet about this. I'm not getting into the controversy over the Greta tweets because I think Mr. Sinha has just said that it's going to be investigated. So let's wait for that to come out. But what I think has happened to the image of India is that because the power of government was brought into play, it was all right if you had a bunch of Bollywood people who all looked like they were part of the same WhatsApp group tweeting against Rihanna. That would have been all right. It's private people tackling somebody privately, no issue. But I think that there was a misstep as far as we were concerned in doing this, and it was not necessary to do this. We could have done this far more gracefully and without having got into this ugly spat with an
and
artist.
for the Ministry of External Affairs to step in. I mean, this is a premier ministry which is in charge of foreign relations, right? And for them to basically give out a statement, and you see an absolutely identical statement being echoed, one really wonders why the Ministry of External Affairs would have to comment on someone's private tweet. But very quickly, before I come back to Tuhin Sinha as well as Pawan Kheda, DP Kaushik, spokesperson of BJP Haryana, is also with us. Mr. Kaushik, iska impact on the ground. देखिए, Haryana में, Western UP में, you know that farmers are up in arms, right? Farmers are upset with the manner in which things have happened. Politically, राजनीतिक रूप से, आपको क्या लगता है कि ये क्या संदेश देता है लोगों को?
देखिए संकेत जी, जिस तरह का आंदोलन है, ये 26 तारीख की घटना है, ये इससे तो बिल्कुल साफ जाहिर होता है कि ये मंशा कुछ और ही थी। इसमें कुछ शरारती तत्व जिन्होंने ये इस तरह का उपद्रव किया है, तो एक किसान वर्ग पे उस पे एक दब्बा लगा दिया, तो देश के में एक बुरा संकेत गया है। ये एक छवि खराब करने की कोशिश की गई है विदेशों में कि इंडिया में भी ऐसा कुछ होता है। हमारे किसान इस तरह के लोग नहीं है, बट जिन्होंने भी किया है, सरकार अपना काम कर रही है, कानून काम करेगा उसका। बट मेरे उसमें ये ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, और सरकार हमेशा बातचीत करने के पक्ष में रही है, और कोई भी आंदोलन हो या कोई बात हो, उसका समाधान बातचीत से निकलता है। किसानों को भी बार बार समझाया गया केंद्रीय मंत्री द्वारा, मीटिंग द्वारा, कि आप लोग आइए, बातचीत कीजिए। हम लोगों ने 11-12 बार मौका दिया इनको, 14 बार भी हो गया। अब नेक्स्ट टाइम में भी इस तरह का आंदोलन, आज जींद में महापंचायत हुई है, उनमें भी डिसीजन लिया गया। सरकार की मंशा साफ है कि आप बातचीत कीजिए, हम आपके जो हमने ऑप्शन रखे उस पर खरी है सरकार।
नहीं तो ये तो आपने कंडीशन सेट कर दी ना कि हम इतना करेंगे, बस यही तो प्रॉब्लम है किसानों को।
क्या है कि अगर आप लोग नहीं है तो हम लोग आपसे दूर नहीं है, बात करने का तरीका अभी भी आगे भी खुला हुआ है। देखिए सर, कानून
नहीं, देखिए एक माहौल होता है बातचीत का। एक सेकंड, कौशिक साहब, एक बातचीत का ना माहौल होता है, उसमें आप बुलाते हैं, सब कुछ होता है, जैसे पिछली 11 बार हमने देखा। लेकिन जब कटीले तार रख दिए जाएंगे, देयर विल बी कॉन्सर्टीना वायर्स, देयर विल बी अ लाइन ऑफ बैरिकेड्स, there will be reinforced concrete after concrete and a wall will be built. Do you think that these are conducive, this is a conducive picture for talks? मतलब इस वातावरण में आप उसके बाद बोले आओ चलो बात कर लो।
देखिए सर, किसानों की जो कमेटी जाती है उसके लिए रास्ते खुले हुए हैं, बट जो अब 26 तारीख की घटना अगर इस तरह की होती है तो फिर देखिए सरकार का, प्रशासन का काम होता है लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन करना, ठीक है, और उसके लिए सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है, वो करना भी चाहिए और कर भी रही है। देखिए विपक्ष जिस तरह की राजनीति कर रहा है कि गोलियां क्यों नहीं चलाई, गोलियां चलनी चाहिए थी, ये छवि बीजेपी की तो नहीं है, ये कल्चर इस सरकार का तो नहीं है। अल्टीमेटली जो विपक्ष चाहता है वो हम लोग नहीं करेंगे।
नहीं, गोलियां चलाई हमारी हमदर्दी
हमेशा है और आगे भी रहेगी।
मैं एक बार आपसे जानना चाहूंगा, देखिए इंटरनेट आपने बंद किया, पानी आपने बंद किया, ठीक है, बिजली की सप्लाई आपने काटी, ये गोलियां चलाई वाली बात किसने कही? मैं सुनना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि एज फार एज आई रिमेंबर आई डोंट थिंक एनीवन सेड दैट यू मस्ट शूट।
नहीं सर, जो विपक्ष की मंशा बता रहा हूं सर, विपक्ष की जो मंशा नहीं कहते हैं, प्रवक्ताओं मैंने बहुत सुना है, वो लोग कहते हैं भी नहीं, अगर सरकार ने उन्हें गलत काम का उपद्रवियों ने तो गोलियां चला देनी चाहिए थी, या ये लोग लाल किला तक।
आई डोंट नो इफ यू कुड एट्रीब्यूट दिस टू समवन, इट विल बी बेटर, बिकॉज यू नो आई डोंट नो हु हैज सेड दिस. Because officially I have not heard anyone from the opposition said that bullets should have been fired. But very quickly, Pawan Kheda and Tuhin Sinha, I want to come back to you. You know, going forward, now this issue has been internationalized, okay? And then the government's reaction has further internationalized it. So what next, Mr. Kheda? Where does this leave the talks with the farmers?
The Prime Minister 3 days ago had said that he's a call away. I don't know. I mean, you are in touch with, as a journalist, you are in touch with all farm leaders. Ask them if they've got a call. You don't first shut your minds, windows and doors, and then say you're open to talks. You have to be genuinely open to talks. The day the farmers sat on a dharna and the government decided that they will talk to the farmers, that very day the Prime Minister in some event said that there is no going back on the laws. Now, if this is the closed mind with which you approach a problem, then I'm sorry, you won't be able to solve it. To me, it doesn't matter what somebody sitting in US says, but what matters to me is that the farmers are still sitting there. And that's something which this government needs to shed its ego to begin with.
Sure.
You can't have an ego when you are in power. Because you're already there. You are, aap to powerful hai, aap to raja hai. Aapko
No,
ego
but then the government has said
shobha
that
hi nahi
initially we wanted... No, one moment. The government says that we've had so many rounds of talks. They are saying the farmers have egos, not the government.
The farmers have been steadfast about their demands. First, repeal the laws. And then sit with them and then come up with better laws, which they are also in agreement with. What's so wrong in that? You can't, in a ham-handed way, go because you have 303
Mr.
seats.
Sinha, last word.
You just go to the parliament and just
Sanket,
pass some laws without even taking the opposition into consideration.
Sure. Mr.
Leave alone
Sinha.
farmers.
Mr. Sinha, last word. Also, the Ministry of External Affairs statement, the opening line says that a lot of discussion took place and these laws were passed in the parliament. To which I have seen a lot of response from many ambassadors as well as congressmen who are saying, where was the discussion? The manner in which it was passed or cleared in a din. So, in a way, they're also questioning the statement of the Ministry of External Affairs. Yes, Mr. Sinha.
You know, some of these people who criticize the government on that count have a very short memory span, because if you look at the videos 7 years ago of how the Telangana bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha, you would say that this bill was passed rather well. But anyway, coming to the larger point, let me simplify this entire discussion. 3 quick questions which I'll answer. Have the farmers enjoyed the right to protest? Yes, from September, the protests have been going on in some form and they have enjoyed the right to protest. Do they have a right to violence? No. But then 37 promises, 37 commitments given to the government on 26th January were broken and they even resorted to violence. Now, do we allow another round of violence? We have to prevent that, and that is why this entire fortification has taken place. Third question, do they have a right to be heard? 13 rounds of discussions vouch for the fact that they have been adequately been heard. We have repeatedly said that we are ready to
Mr. Sinha, is it not a fact that in an almost eerie coordinated way, some locals showed up at 3 borders and police also served eviction notice to the farmers post the events of 26th of January? See, the problem is trust. That's the key word.
And trust needs to be built mutually. Trust needs to be built mutually. Sure. It can't be built on the basis of commitments which are broken.
Okay. On both sides.
Sanket.
On both sides, government as well as the farmers. Very quickly, last 10 seconds, running out of time. Yes, Mr. Kheda.
Anyone, just give me one example of an all-party meeting on this issue. Captain Amarinder Singh in his state has done it. Why can't the Prime Minister? 3 months. Where is the all-party meeting? He doesn't take democratic norms seriously.
Sure.
That's the problem. That's why the farmers don't trust him. So the trust has to come from the government.
Okay. Sure. Dilip Cherian, DP Kaushik, Pawan Kheda as well as Tuhin Sinha. Thank you very much for joining us. With that, it's a wrap in this edition of Trending Tonight. Vishnu joins you next. Good night. Goodbye.